Yo, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome to Draw My Life with Mr. Fomer Simpson. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Now, I've wanted to do one of these videos for a while, and since I'm celebrating 100K, I figured now is the perfect time. So here it goes. My name is Mike. No, my real name is not Fomer. Shocking, right? Anyway, I am an 80s baby, and I am from New York City. Hell's Kitchen to be exact. My earliest memories are on this block right here, 49th Street between 10th and 11th, building 533. This is where I lived with my family. My parents, myself, and both of my brothers, Young Buckets Esquire and Hansi Boy. I have a sister too, Jessie, but she was not born yet. It was pretty cramped up being that it was a studio apartment, but we didn't mind. There was actually a clothesline that went from the bathroom all the way to the fire escape. That's how small the apartment was. I can remember all of us sitting on the floor watching Knick and Yankee games. Quick shout out to Pat Ewing for the illest flat top in the game. Anyway, both of my parents are really hard workers, but because of that, they weren't home much. My mom had a friend who had a son named Frankie. He was from Canarsie in Brooklyn. He was older than me, but his mom would drop him off at our place and tell us to stay out of trouble. And for the most part, we did. We were always outside. Mom Dukes never let us have cable or video games, which in hindsight, I'm thankful for. So we were always outside. We got in fights with other kids here and there, but for the most part, we played sports and did other cool shit. Except for the time when he tried to teach me to skateboard and I fell face first into the curb, chipped my tooth and everything. That wasn't real cool. Now, right around the time my sister was born, the rent went up in our building, and I didn't know this at the time, but my parents weren't able to pay that rent, so we had to leave. The only problem was we had nowhere to go. So we packed up and drove to New Jersey. Stuff was a little cheaper out there, but at that point, we had almost nothing, so we had to live in a trailer park. I didn't like it at all. I had no friends, and the trailer was even smaller than our apartment was. Just to give you an idea, there was a small diner-type booth in the kitchen, and that table flipped over and turned into my parents' bed. It was like a transformer, only a lot shittier. Both my parents are tall though. Pops is 6'3", Mom Dukes is almost 6 foot, so they couldn't fit on the bed or the table or whatever you want to call it. So they actually slept in a tent outside. I can still remember my mom waking up in the morning upset because it rained and there was half a foot of water in the tent. My dad often refers to this as the best of times and the worst of times. We weren't out in Jersey for too long before we were able to move back into the city. We actually moved back into the same neighborhood, which I liked because that's where a lot of my friends were at. Life was good. I played sports year-round. Basketball was my main focus though. I was also really into sneakers, even though I couldn't afford them, and music. Oh, and I watched a lot of movies too. Yeah, Mom Duke still wasn't going for the whole cable thing. Over the next few years, we moved around a lot, and while I was in high school, my mom, sister, and both brothers all moved to Florida. I stayed in New York though. I was going to LaSalle Academy at the time, a Catholic school, and we had one of the best teams in the city back then. The following year, with some help from a coach at the Boys and Girls Club, I was able to get a scholarship to play ball at a prep school way up in northern Massachusetts. We had a really good team up there, and I played well but had some issues academically. I ended up having to go to junior college. I went all the way out to Kansas. It was literally in the middle of nowhere, but it was one of the best JUCO conferences in the country, and we were actually conference champs my sophomore year. I had several Division I scholarships on the table, but again, ran into some academic issues. My grades were good this time, but there were some other technicalities, fine print type stuff that is absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. I had verbally committed to Youngstown State, and they tried to appeal my case to the NCAA, but the NCAA was not having it. I was pretty disappointed to say the least, and ended up going to a Division II school in Georgia. It was okay basketball-wise. Off the court, I liked it a lot. I met some great people that I'm still in touch with today. The coach basically retired after my junior year, and I finished up my college career at a very small school in Tennessee. The reason I decided to go there is because it was one of the only schools that I was going to be able to play with my brother at. That's right, young Buckets had grown up and was now about to be a freshman in college. And one of the things we always wanted to do was play together. And that's what we did. I played the point and he played the post. Our team wasn't great, but I actually led the nation in assists that year with 9 per game. And from that came some offers to play professionally, starting in Chile. I went from there to Mexico, from there to Germany, and even a brief stop in Canada. I wasn't playing in the big money leagues, but I was getting paid to play basketball, and that in and of itself was a dream come true. Those experiences were unbelievable. Being able to live in other countries and do something that I love to do, I'm truly thankful for that. Now in 2012, I had to get knee surgery. That was really tough. I never had any serious injuries, and so at least for the foreseeable future, basketball had come to a halt. It was kind of a rough time for me, being that basketball was my whole life since I was a little kid. The surgery went okay, but the whole rehab thing was a very slow process. I gained weight, I got out of shape, it was a frustrating time, and this is actually when we started the YouTube channel, a little over 2.5 years ago. Now, I was never a YouTube guy before then. I knew about it, but never really watched it. Maybe a music video here and there, but that's about it. So Buckets told me that people actually reviewed sneakers on YouTube. We had a lot of time on our hands and decided we would give it a try. We always loved sneakers and it seemed like it could be fun. Going in, we didn't have any expectations really. I can remember us talking about how cool it would be to have 100 subscribers. And now there's 100K. That's crazy. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody who supports. It means way more than you know, it really does. And I know I've said this before, but all the opportunities I've gotten recently have come from you guys and girls. Playing at Michael Jordan's house, doing the fundamentals campaign with Finish Line, hooping with Steph Curry, everything. I owe that to you. As far as the future goes, I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna keep moving forward. I will continue to try to put out the best videos possible. I should say, we will continue to try to put out the best videos possible here on this channel, as well as Banana Stew Productions. We're also working on apparel and a bunch of other dope shit. So stay tuned for the next chapter. The end. For now.